Hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode 7 of Feed the Beast Guys 2. Last time we hopped into the end, did a bit of Malum, and got ourselves our favorite new weapon. Now, today, as you saw in the intro there, I went ahead and did a bunch of occultism rituals and placed all of my guys in jars. So we have 13 crushers and 18 smelters in total. These are the ores we will be using. I currently don't have platinum, osmium, or uranium. They are on the to-do list, but yeah, we will get those eventually. But this is what we need for the setup. We need 13 crushers and 18 smelters. The crushers will only do the first 13, and then the smelters will be smelting everything here. As you see, I also have the stasis chamber, as well as the soul laser, drills, mob slaughter factory, and everything in between for industrial foregoing. We might get to this in this episode. This is also for our smelting setup. This will be used with soul pipes to speed them up incredibly fast. But at the moment, we'll probably just get everything set up and wired up and automated so that all of our shards are processed, and also collect these last 3 geores as well while we're at it. Now, I want to be able to do the automation underneath all of our amethysts. Now, I could build a geode similar to this one, but that's going to take a lot of work. So instead, we're going to use the RF Tools Builder. In here, I have a shape card that's set to bottom dome hollow, and it is 33 by 33 with a 21 depth. And I don't think I need to change the offset. It should place, like, there will be a small roof and it will cover up the floor here, which is fine, I think. It shouldn't destroy any blocks. I believe it keeps all blocks intact. I can't remember. But yeah, it shouldn't remove blocks. It's on redstone mode activate, and if I just place a drawer beneath it and fill it up with salt, by all means, when I flick this lever, this should build a giant dome instantaneously, I think. It might be off and we might have to break it and redo it, but we'll see. Okay, that's promising. It's definitely a lot more shallow than I intended, but the size was perfect. Yeah, no, that was absolutely perfect. Maybe 21 was too deep for how small we made it, so it did it as deep as it could. Wow. You know what? This is fantastic. All right, let me head in there and see what it looks like. You know what? This is great. It doesn't replace any of the blocks, which is amazing. This is what we wanted. And it's a decent amount of room down here. I'm not too concerned about the space. Obviously, I'm going to build like a little floor in the inner, or second innermost area, maybe even the third, depending on how much height we need. And then we'll kind of leave the walls as is. And yeah, this is great. So I'm just going to get started on redesigning this room a little bit to fit our needs. And then we'll start working on automation of all of our geores. Okay, you know what? I like something like this. It's not too complicated. We just added a floor in, and then I added some chiseled, like, geodes exposed, or like amethysts poking out of the geode, you know? Nothing too fancy. Now comes the complicated part. And I only say complicated because it's on my own doing for not doing this properly, is all of these merits are mixed up and you can't tell what they are. There's no way to differentiate if they are a smelter or a crusher without placing them down and reading. Very fast smelter, crusher, right? So I'm going to have to go through, place them down, and then as I place them down, sort them so we can actually have them in the right spot as we need them. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll jump into how we're going to automate these. So fun fact, in a recent update, they added a budding uranite geode into the pack, which is perfectly fine. It just means we're going to need another smelter and another crusher. So we've laid down 19 drawers, which is fine. It actually kind of works out better because we have an uneven space down here. So the center 5 here are going to be smelters only. So as placeholders for the jars, we're going to place down 5 for the smelters. For the drawers below them, we're going to have pull upgrades, and it's going to pull from the smelters above. And then above this is going to be the drawers that push into them. Very simple. So it's going to be geode, smelter jar, finished product. Now for this side, let's just do amethyst for now. Similarly, exact same setup, nothing different, except they're going to have an extra layer in which they get crushed by. So that's going to be our smelter wall. Nothing too complicated. It is going to be item goes in, goes in, goes in, goes in, finished product. And then this one is just going to be item goes in, finished product. Very, very simple. Nothing complicated here at all. So if I take out all of my crushers, we went ahead and separated them all. And then if we take all of our smelters, like so, and like I said, the uranite one will just go on the end here once we get it. I mean, technically we don't even have the uranium, osmium, and platinum ones that are going here, but eventually we will get them all filled in. Now, for filling the barrels themselves, we're most likely going to have to pipe it out directly from there. Initially, I wanted to be able to soul surge all of the barrels so that they would automatically fill up, but I think that's too much of an ask. Okay, by no means is it a finished design, but having the storage controller there kind of works. And all I'm going to need to do is take a linking tool, and it's almost in range, so all we have to do is take a single copper upgrade inside of here. And the range, yeah, the range is much bigger now. Perfect. So on multiple mode, we just come over to this guy and they're all added very simply. And then we'll take a locking tool, lock them all individually. And then basically all it is from here on out is not accidentally throwing stuff inside of them, so we don't have to unlock and lock them again, and just sorting what gears we're going to put where. I'm going to be completely honest. I put lapis as something that needs to be crushed, but lapis just needs to be smelted. There's no crushing involved. I'm not sure why I put it there, but my count is off now. It is supposed to be 6 that are smelted, 12 that aren't, or in our case 13, right? Because we have the Urnite. So 13 that are crushed and 6 that are smelted. So I'm trying to make sense of this as to how I'm going to do it evenly. I guess we could do 3 smelts on each side, which is unfortunate because I liked the way this looks, but I guess I'll just bump the controller up 1 block and then have 3 smelted on each side and then bring these guys all in a block or 2. Yeah, that's unfortunately what we're going to do. So I'll be back once that's changed up and then we can start filtering these. Right, so it's going to be something like that instead. And it's more of like a pyramid structure, I guess. And we could technically play into it a bit more by making it more of a pyramid and slapping a few framed blocks here and there. Won't hurt anybody either. Okay, I mean, what? It doesn't look that bad. It genuinely doesn't look that bad. It's a little goofy. Might want to fix it a bit. We might do some slower curves on the very top here and then make it like platform down. I don't know. But we're not going to be down here very often. This is simply to automate. It's not very much for the visual looks, but it's fine for now, I guess. I accidentally right-clicked. I didn't know you could do this, by the way. I'm going to show it off. Since we have insane reach with our Fargo's Talisman, you can actually just right-click onto the jar and it will smelt it. I guess I've never tried that, but that is a thing you can do. So I need to go get another redstone and lapis geode. I don't think I have any in my system. No, I don't. So if we line these up, I'm going to do redstone, lapis, and I guess emerald over here, and then do diamond, black quartz, and regular quartz over here. Yeah, that works. And then how we do them in the middle doesn't really matter. I always like a good copper, iron, gold. And then, you know what? We're going to do Urnite, uranium, lead, right? Because uranium, lead, right? And then silver, platinum, and then what are the other 2 are that we need? And you know what? That looks pretty good to me. Like, I don't see anything innately wrong with it. All I have to do now is throw a bunch of puller and pusher upgrades on all of these guys. Pushers on the top. Actually, pushers for the top 2 and then pullers on the bottom ones. So we'll do pushers down along the 2 top rows and then pullers from the bottom. We could also do pusher, puller, puller. It doesn't really matter, but we'll just do pusher, pusher, puller. Let's say that 10 times fast. And then yeah, I gotta relink everything up by on the controller up top, and then we'll filter these pipes into these from now on, and then I will also make that an extract so it all goes into the system as well, except for the coal. We're going to keep coal in all other sorts that don't smelt in a separate storage. I guess we could do that storage down here too, like maybe have some storage crates on the side or something. Not entirely sure, but it would make sense to have them all in one spot, even if they're not processed. And in that case, I'm pretty sure it is only the coal and ancient debris ones, and I guess we should do the ancient debris setup down here. And then, well, cold geo shards have absolutely no use for us. Like, we have 200,000 of them or something, and we have no use for them. Like, sure, we could use them for dielectric paste later, but I mean to convert them into something. We don't have a use for them at the moment. So what we'll do is we'll do ancient debris, coal, Certus quartz, and amethyst, as those don't get processed, but we do need to keep them all, I guess, together, nevertheless, just so it's easier, because we're going to get rid of that storage above. And yeah, I actually probably can just start piping these in immediately without a second thought. It should be fine. I'm going to connect the pipe, see what happens. Okay, and then we'll just disconnect the pipe, and they're already flowing in like crazy. Yep, everything's already flowing in. That's fantastic. So what we're going to do is each one of the bottom ones are upgraded with 3 netherite upgrades, and that means we can hold a total of 67 million of any given item. Now, if I am going to surpass this, we have an issue, realistically. So I'm going to throw void upgrades in all of these as well. I don't think I need more than 67 million. I mean, it can't hurt to throw another one in here, right? And then get up to 2.1 billion. You know what? Screw it. We're gonna have 2.1 billion of every item. Max storage. Why not? We're gonna have 2.1 billion. Can't hurt. There we go. So we have 2.1 billion of all of these items in case we need it. I guess I should do it for the above ones as well, which means I need more netherite. There we go. Perfect. So now everything has max capacity that we can store long term. Now for the geodes themselves, I think we're gonna go with like 2 diamond ones. Nothing too crazy. That means I just need to make a lot more upgrades. So fun fact, the first issue we're running into is just the fact that we don't have enough copper smelted, which by no means is a large deal. Like, I'm not too concerned. Copper is very easy to get. It's just that we just don't have copper smelted in the system. I've smelted up a lot of other ores manually, but never any copper. And that's the biggest part of the copper upgrade. So if we hit the copper with a push down, that's not right. If we hit it with a push down into another push down, oh no, this has to be puller for sure, because it has to pull out. Never mind. This is going to pull from above. There we go. Okay, so copper dust is locked in there. I forgot to do that initially. And then if we do push down from this guy and a puller from top, put that in there, it should work. Nice. So copper is getting pushed downwards. This guy here is pulling from above and pushing down below. And then down here, we're just getting everything pulled in. So that's the basic setup. Very simple, nothing complicated about it. It's simply push, pull. Very, very simple. All right, system overflow at the moment. Gotta work fast. Gold dust, gold, iron dust, iron. This is chaos. What are you? Why would you tell me what you are? This is silver, so silver goes down here. Aluminum. All right, the system's fully hooked up. As you see, everything is being processed like crazy. It depends on what we set up first, what has the most at the bottom already. But yeah, everything's going swimmingly. Like, I'm not worried about the rates of anything here. Obviously, the tops will take a while to process because there's a bit of a backlog. But as these catch up, I realistically don't think our geode farm itself is going to overproduce to the fact that we're never going to catch ourselves up. I think it will take quite a while to catch up fully, especially once we add in what we currently have. Because if we look in here, this number is going down slightly. Ooh, it might actually be going up more than it is going down. You know what? We might need the warden. We might need the warden to help us. I'm not sure. It's looking like it. I'm going to be honest. It is looking like we're going to need the warden. But for now, we're going to open the floodgates. And by that, I mean switch this guy over to extract. And slowly but surely, everything here is going to fill up like crazy. And I don't even actually have enough space for it. You know what? We might add more diamond upgrades into all of these. I did make a bunch more on accident. So we might actually go ahead and upgrade the primary storage just in case, because we do have a lot of excess at the moment. All right, floodgate time. Let's see how fast they start to fill up. It's only doing once. It might only be doing one at a time here. I don't know what it's doing first. Is it even taking it out? I don't see anything going down. That's very bizarre. Now, I wasn't planning on doing this, but I'm going to give myself a crystal coin, head into the shop, and buy the ultimate pipe upgrade. For some reason, these are uncraftable. Couldn't tell you why. You can get them from the loot crate, the ultimate, or the old tech parts one, or you can buy them. But yeah, you can't actually craft these. But if I go ahead, throw this in here. Oh, you know what? I had it on a wait list. That's why. Okay, we'll do round robin. There we go. Okay, now it's starting to empty. That's still pretty slow overall, but it is better than it was. Nevertheless, this will slowly empty, then we can get rid of this area here. Not like it's ugly or anything, it's just there's no reason for it to be here once we have all of our storage below. And if we pop down here, everything's going swimmingly. The gold is filling up like crazy. Luckily, we have 1.2 million primary storage. But for the smelters themselves, they keep up like no business. Like, I'm not worried about the smelters ever getting overfilled. Like, they're just processing everything they're getting instantly, and I love it. The smelters very fast. The crushers a little slower, but you know what? They're fine. But we might need the warden considering how fast everything's going at the moment. We'll gauge it. We'll definitely gauge it. We'll come back in the next episode, just because doing industrial foregoing halfway through an episode like this is, I don't think it's very smart considering we're going from the very beginning of industrial foregoing until the very end. The latex into the plastics, into the pink slime, into souls from the warden, right? Doing all of this at once, kind of just shoving it at the tail end of the episode after doing our smelting setup is I think it's a little weird. So what we're going to do is we're going to work towards getting the last of the geores, see where we're at, and then figure out what to do with the rest of the episode. All right, to make my life even more complicated, I went ahead and added everything to the storage system. Now it's a little flooded at the moment, but once all of the geores start to get processed down, it won't be that bad. But what I did is this is no longer my main storage lectern. You can have multiple storage lecterns within a system as long as they're within 30 blocks of the master. So the master is now now here. And the reason this is here is to link storages to the master lectern, you actually need to have the inventories within 30 blocks. Unfortunately, this lectern was not within 30 blocks of our storage controller down there. So I made a master lectern here. Storage controller links to it. This one links to that as a master lectern. Now, obviously, we do have our stabilized warp index to access this whenever we want, but if we are here like normal, we can access it as well. So we have a fully fledged system that has access to all of the ores that are currently smelted. Now, eventually we will get into applied energistics, so I'm not too worried about this being a permanent solution, but for now, it is nicer to have access to everything we're smelting right at our fingertips as we need it. Now, I've been flying for like 4,000 or 5,000 blocks at this point to try to find a volcano that we haven't searched yet because we need an updated volcano with the uranite. So we came way out here, and the volcano itself seems pretty similar to before. I assume the uranite's up top here. Oh wow, they opened up the volcano. So people realize there's an actual structure inside of here. Because initially, up top here was like a honey, chocolate, and some other liquid just sitting up top. And I guess people didn't realize there was a dungeon inside of here. So that's fun that they did that. I don't really need to loot these chests. It's just more effort for me. Okay, so they added the chocolate, not the honey, but the chocolate down here, I guess. All right, perfect. Okay, we found the room. It's just at the end of like a maze area. There's some molten emerald in here, which is kind of cool. All right, wow, we got 108 just from that. Now, I'm not going to go look for another volcano today. At least I might do it in the future, but at the moment, I'm not going to get a uranite to geode golem. So if we come over here, place this guy down, hit it with one of those and one of these. And then since our magnet is on and hasn't filtered yet, we're gonna go uranite in the middle. Guys, I don't know what I'm doing. Uranite only needs to be smelted. It doesn't need to be crushed. It just needs to be smelted. It just needs to be smelted. No need for a crusher. So we're gonna go get a smelter. We're gonna put the uranite here, I guess. For what it's worth. No need for a puller in this guy. Just throw them all in there, why not? And yeah, I'm gonna go make another smelter real quick, and then we'll get the rest of the geodes all made up. Silly me. Awesome solution. Now, this looks omega scuffed, but we'll take it. I genuinely might do 7 in the middle and then all the ones at the exterior, but it's gonna be a lot of work, and I just might just leave it like this. Once again, we're not gonna be down here very often, so it's not like we're gonna see it, but I'm going crazy. I have platinum, osmium, uranium. I have 4 slots open. Am I missing something? Like, are one of these barrels just filling up with an obscene amount of stuff? Or did I just count entirely incorrectly to begin with? I think I just messed up and don't know how to count. Because yeah, even tungsten, like if I were to be using tungsten, right? Tungsten is just smelted, and I don't see another one in here. Like, I don't care about ruby, topaz, and sapphire at the moment. There's nothing else in here that requires a crusher. Like, monazite gets smelted into monazite dust. It doesn't get crushed into monazite dust. I think I'm going insane. Yep, I think I've fully gone insane. So I'm going to most likely rebuild this just so my centering makes sense. But there are the 3 other chewers we need to fill those 3 slots. This random slot's going to disappear. So we're going to do 7 in the middle, and then I guess we'll figure out how to deal with the other 11 because it'll be odd on odd, and that doesn't really work. But for now, we'll just ignore it, pretend it doesn't exist, and work on the other 3 geores. Now, arguably the easiest one for us at the moment is osmium. It is simply a block of silver, a block of obsidian, a primordial assembly, and molten ender. Now, there are hundreds of buckets of molten ender available to you in the world. We have 4 buckets in our system, but the islands with the pink flower trees, I believe, the malum ones, if we can find one on the map. These guys right here. No, not those. Those are the towers. Let's see if I can find one. These guys right here. This is what the island looks like. It has dire shadow pulse goo on the side. You can actually see it on the bottom there. And then it has molten ender, as you see on the very bottom of the screen, has a molten ender in the middle of the island. So these guys have plenty of molten ender if you don't want to melt it yourself. Otherwise, it is simply putting ender pearls in the foundry, putting them in a bucket. Very simple. Nevertheless, like I said, it is a block of silver, primordial assembly, and obsidian dust. So block of silver, very easy. Obsidian dust, also very easy. We already have it. Now the primordial assembly, this guy requires a new block, the molecular metamorpher. We've already done a bit of cognition off camera. We did the experience obelisk just so I don't have 1,000 XP levels. And I also built an experience fountain so I can repair my pickaxe when I'm over top of it. Eventually we'll go with dire tools. I don't know why I haven't yet, but just so we can use the mending on here, I have that down. But if we go ahead and make one of these and grab our staff of attunement, all we have to do is simply shift right click the obelisk to save the position, and then shift right click the molecular metamorpher. It's very similar to any of these. They all link back to your obelisk, and as long as your obelisk has XP, so if we store all of our levels, we have 280 XP, or we have 311,000 XP, and it is simply gold and a tune assembly and then any kind of sapling. So if we throw that in here, as you see, the bound obelisk has the XP and it'll make us a primordial assembly. Very simple. The primordial assembly itself has a few other uses throughout the mod pack, the main one being the evolutionary arcanum, which is used for the FTB pyramid, but our use is to make budding osmium ore. So if I turn my magnet off and chuck all that in there we go. Cool. Oh, I just realized this wasn't set up to pick up uranite shards. Yeah, that was bad. Big mistake on my end. So if we place our osmium in, this will slowly start growing, and I just got to be ready to collect it. So in you go there, and we'll do osmium here, and then osmium there. And that's fully automated now. Now, I don't know if this guy uses power. I've never used one before. Okay, it doesn't use power. That's kind of cool. Now, luckily, we have platinum. I don't know where from. It must be from one of the islands, but we do have raw platinum, so that's not an issue. However, uranium is still the issue at hand. We don't have uranium at all, right? It's not something we found yet. So if I had to place stone down here, very similar to how the lens of the miner works, this provides us with ores, and it has a chance to use up the celestial gem itself. So if I add a deny list for stone into this guy, place it down, and then add my pickaxe into this, it will break and place it in there. Very simple. And I'm pretty sure, yeah, we got uranium immediately. This is much faster than using the lens of the miner, because the lens of the miner has a really low chance of doing it. Now this thing uses the celestial gems pretty fast, but celestial gems are no issue for us. Eventually we will automate the goo, by the way, with placers and breakers. I just haven't done it yet. So if we throw our pickaxe back in here, yeah, this will just work away. And he used up all the stone before it went through the celestial gems. That's pretty fun. Very simple though. So in the end, we got a few different ores that normally you won't get, but uranium is the big one. Tungsten is going to be used later on. There's some other ones in here, maybe. I don't see anything jumping out at me immediately. Like there's the fluorite, which will be useful. Dimensional shards is actually pretty good too. These cinnabar gems, I'm not entirely sure the point of them. They were added by FTB materials, but they have no use. But they exist, so that's kind of cool. And then antimony is kind of useful as well. But yeah, we have our uranium. I'm going to quintuple this, set it up in there. But what we want to do with it, obviously, is smelt it in here. So it is 1 block. So 9 uranium. In 5 of those, I should turn this off. Now to smelt that again, and then cast that over top of the platinum block. And we'll do the same for the uranium once it smelts. And if we take our 2 new geores, one unfortunately is going to be by itself. That will be platinum. So as long as you're picking up uranium, you're fine. And as long as you pick up silver or platinum, sorry, you will be fine as well. So uranium goes here, platinum goes there, you in there, and then you in there. Awesome. Everything is set up. Now, this is going to bug me till the end of time. We will probably fix this. I'm not sure when, but I will make sure this is fixed because it is ugly. But yeah, everything's going great. I really like the setup. It's very efficient. Like I said, I want to do industrial foregoing to even speed this up even faster with souls. And if you've never used industrial foregoing souls, we will go through that next episode. However, that is the full setup. Now, there are other ores like tungsten and monzonite that we can just smelt through. I haven't done any modern industrialization yet, but once we get into MI, most likely through this pack, we will eventually do those ores and we'll just kind of smack them around somewhere. Not entirely sure. So I just found out entangled blocks are actually in the pack. Now, if you've never used entangled blocks, they're simple and they're very, very useful. So if I place one here and I shift right click this jar and then right click onto here, this block is now this jar. So if I wanted to import stuff into this jar, but I didn't want to do it right beside because it would look ugly, or if it's not efficient, or if I have a setup somewhere else, as long as I'm within 32 blocks, I can come place down this jar and it'll be connected. And I can say, put this infinity dust into it. So for example, I have one jar here and another one right here, and I haven't showed this off, but this is just the Zycraft extractor we were talking about. It is simply just some kiwi, fluid quartz, aluminum, piston, and dripstone, and this makes infinity dust. Now, obviously this isn't the fastest method ever, but it is free forever, and we could make multiple of these. I'm not too worried. And once again, I could go ahead to the bottom of the world, make 100 of these, entangle them all to one single drawer, and have it very simply connected to one. So I can have one storage system for 100 of these as long as they're all entangled going into it. So entangle blocks, so useful. Very cheap in this pack too. Just some ender pearls, obsidian, and a chest. And I guess once you get to the end, that's no concern at all. So if we get ourselves a framed controller access point and have that forward facing, I can then link it back to the controller, as well as this one here. So now this is a controller access point and I can pull from it. So if we come over to this guy, throw an advanced pipe upgrade on it, and set it to extract ancient debris only, and I'll do round robin, take that stuff out, and if we head back up here and do some west and east pusher upgrades in this guy, as long as these always have space, they will make ancient debris. We just need space in them. That is, there we go. So yeah, now that these technically have space for both the grains of infinity and the ancient debris shards, this will just infinitely make our ancient debris scrap. As you see, it is constantly going. Now, obviously this is slow and we could multiply this tenfold, 100-fold, and we could do so many of these, but I don't think we're in such need of it that this is a big concern. And like I said, this server is running 24/7, so when we're not here, this is just going to permanently run. For example, we have 416,000 redstone and we still have 207,000 shards. Each shard smelts into 5 redstone, so I think we're fine. We're gonna have 1.4 million redstone, and this will keep filling up, so it's gonna be almost 2 million. Realistically, by the next time we log in, we might have 2 million redstone. Just saying, there's a chance. Also, if you see, I went ahead and did some tungsten. We had a few tungsten ore from one of the villages. They have geode clusters in the area where the fireworks and the target training is in the villages, in the sky villages. There is one tungsten geode cluster there on occasion. So the 2 or 3 that we mined, we turned into tungsten ingot, turned that into a tungsten geode shard, turned that into a budding tungsten ore, and now we have a centered thing. It looks a lot better. It appeases me. It doesn't look awful. And I really like this color grading, to be honest. The light, like the blue green into the green into the dark green. It looks nice. Now that's obviously emeralds over there, but I digress. It looks a lot better and it just pleases the eyes to look at. It's not off-centered and it looks nice. Nevertheless, I'm going to wrap up today's episode there. Kind of a weird one. We got all of our occultism stuff done finally that we've been trying to do for the past 3 or so episodes. We now have a wall of smelt. Now we did automate the netherite scrap as well, which was very simple. We already had the automation done. We just moved it down here and ended up using entangled blocks with the Zycraft, and it is very useful this way. I think it's a really great way to automate it. Obviously, we'll have to up our grains of infinity production to keep up with that because the 3,000 we have in reserve is going to deplete very fast. Nevertheless, I do hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If there was anything you learned or anything you want to teach me, leave it in the comments below. I really do appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, and if you don't want to miss any other future content from me, hit that subscribe button. See you in the next one. Bye bye.